Nope, no water got in there. So ED is something that affects a lot of men. That's erectile dysfunction. And statistically, it may not affect you, but it may affect a lot of people that you know. They just don't bring it up. It's just one of those taboo subjects that nobody wants to talk about. They don't want to go to a doctor, and a lot of times it leaves it untreated. Well, that's where today's video sponsor, Roman, is here to make it easy to treat ED and make your life better. Roman is a digital health clinic for men. Roman provides effective FDA-approved treatments for ED. Treatment with the Roman platform is super convenient. It allows you to be evaluated, diagnosed, and receive treatment all from the comfort of your own home. The initial online visit and all follow-ups are free, and you'll always get free 2-day shipping. Shipping is always discreet, and ED treatments start at just $2 a dose. All treatments depend on gaining a prescription after a medical evaluation by a doctor or nurse practitioner on the Roman platform. So visit getroman.com/SSR. If you're prescribed, you're going to save $15 off your first month's ED treatment. That's getroman.com/SSR. I put a link right below in the description. All right, everybody, what's up? Rob Ferretti here, and I'll get into this car. Just scored an Aston Martin, and I bought a couple of other ones, so we'll get into that. Hi-Jet doing its job. This thing is probably the most bang for your buck as far as turning heads and starting conversations that you can get for $5 grand. So that's awesome. We'll get into that in a second. That's the interior for my, like everything, interior for my NSX. I'm replacing the whole kit and caboodle. But as I said, I want to get my car up and running for April 15th, and that's what I'm doing. So I've got obviously the interior out of this thing. Just got a new battery for it. And we're going to start knocking stuff down one at a time. And when I say running, I mean I'm talking completely running all of my cars, repainting this front bumper because I don't like, I don't know, some paint like runs there. And then obviously when we got the flat tire, this all got scraped up from the metal on the tire. So I've got to get this repainted, and the way down yonder here, there is this scratch under here that I want to get rid of. It's been there for far too long, and when I got the car painted previously, they didn't even know it was there, so they didn't do it. But I want to, while I have the car apart, get rid of everything that's not stock. So I was looking at these wires here, right? This is like, I'm like, all right, you know what, I don't need all this speaker wire that just go into an amp. Some of them are dead-ended over there. Start pulling the trunk apart in the back here, and it turns out it wasn't even connected to anything. So for years, I've had this vestigial wire in the car, probably to an amplifier that was worth something. So when the guy sold it, he took the amplifier out. Guess what? It's all coming out now. I'm just going to have the speakers and whatever factory preamps are in there. I'm not a big audio guy. I do like jamming out to some tunes sometimes, but I'm very happy with like stock speakers, stock everything, because I'm not blasting it, and this car is not oppressively loud. I had this spare diehard battery that I used to just test start it before. Got another Duralast battery from AutoZone, which is warranted, even though it was a little bit, just a hair. It was like a week over 2 years. They give a 2-year warranty. They hooked it up because they like my mini truck, so that's cool. But we'll get this battery swapped in. We will get those wires out. We'll get the interior out, and I'll show you what that looks like. But let me get the battery in first, right? It's a little dark in this corner. I don't have enough light, so that's why I'm doing sort of softbox lighting over here to help me out. But let me get this going, and I'll see you in a second. Now I test fit this, so that should be pretty loose, at least hand tight, so I can pop this off. It's ground. This one doesn't fit as well as it should. That's handled. New battery going in. Okay, that's not going anywhere. Now, the NSX battery bracket. It's tight. 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 Now let's jump in the car. Take you with me. All right, very important in a situation like this that you make sure you're in neutral. That's good. Because if you try to put your foot on the brake, firm neutral, yes. Foot off clutch slowly, just because I don't trust myself. And put a whole bunch of lights on there. SRS we're used to. EPS, it's traction related. I'm looking at this, and this is one of the harnesses that I have to replace. You can see it's all green inside there. And these just like rusted or corroded out. So we got a little bit of work ahead of us, but not bad. Let's go check out that interior, because all this wiring has to get cleared out before we even touch the interior and put it in here. All right, those are some good looking seats. I think I'm gonna leave most of this stuff in there, but the seats, until we're ready for it, because it limits the amount of things that can go wrong. But obviously these will get cleaned up from shipping. But compare all of this to this. Look at this. That looks like mold to me. So these, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. I know there's a huge, having purchased other, I got so much stuff here. This is going to come in handy pretty soon, but we'll get to that. This is frustrating to me because these seats are so expensive. People want, it's a supply and demand thing now, right? There's nobody making aftermarket things. And the seats and the interior for this car is ungodly expensive, given what a seat should cost. These seats, both these seats, the NSX and the 488, are selling for like $4,000 to $5,000 a seat for one seat. Because when you need one and there's none available, stuff gets quite expensive. So we'll get this stuff all sorted out and get this thing starting to come back together. But I just wanted to give you a quick preview as to what's going on, the fact that it's running. We're going to go, step one now is to get this to the shop and gut the wiring and switch anything else that needs to be switched, ECUs, modules, wiring, and then underneath I know there's some like suspension components and everything like that that are going to need attention. So once that's all done, we'll get the car to the paint shop, come back from the paint shop, and then we'll put the interior in. The interior is almost like the last part, which is why I'm not unwrapping everything. I just wanted to show you the difference in quality between the old and the new. But I'm looking forward to getting this thing up and running. I said 2 weeks, it's gonna, or I said a month from when I made that video, but it's going to be done. We're coming up on the beginning of April, so I've got about 3 weeks to get it done. And the fact that most of the stuff is here, which is my biggest concern, will allow us to get it done. We may run into some issues with other parts, but with my investigative abilities and the internet, I'm going to do my best to sort them out. It's all apart now. It's nice. Everything is nice. See, this was the proper play because this stuff is impossible to find. It's discontinued, and I was piecemealing it and looking, but this entire interior in one shot worked out a lot better. And there's a difference. The earlier generation or the earlier years of the NSX don't have the perforated seats. You see how these are perforated? The other options I was looking into was potentially rewrapping my seats, which I still may do and sell to somebody else, but rewrapping them, it just never looks right. It never looks the same. That's why being able to get this and land this was awesome. And this is a full matching interior. Everything looks good. And this doesn't have a lot of miles on it. And I think whoever had it crashed the car, and when they dismantle the car, they just take the entire interior out. That's the only way to get an interior like this. But when you have an interior like that, you need a guy like me who actually needs it. So this company may have been sitting on this car or this interior for 5 years, 10 years, who knows? So it's going to look nice. In my car, it's going to go in all in one piece, and that's going to be the last step here to getting this wrapped up. I'll take this whole dash out. These door panels will come out. And the door panels, I mean, they look all right in this car, but they don't look as good, I think, as the other thing. The only thing I may not have gotten is I may not have gotten this. And if I didn't, I don't know. That is what it is. But this will all go back together soon. One big problem solved, because the interior stuff, anytime a car is discontinued, it's almost like a labor of love to get these things back together and getting them back together right. So this is probably the best way for me to get this back together in the most efficient and quickest way possible. And now that it's starting, we'll get put a seat in it, drive it over to the shop, and we'll start dialing it in. You know what? I'm going to drive this to the New York Auto Show press days. I think it's like 13th, 14th, 15th, something in there. This will be my goal. So, transformation is happening, and it's going to be good. So, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'll see you tomorrow. There's your update on this. Ferrari's over at Cosmo Shop. Cosmo says he wants this one too, but time is of the essence, so I may bring it somewhere else to get this thing cranking at the same time. We'll see. Rob Ferretti. No lifts yet, just because I have to throw an update on there. Walmart canceled my order because they didn't have the stock, so I went with Alibaba, and I've got a whole row of these coming in from China. Wish me luck. See you next time. Rob Ferretti signing out.